just realised I didn't film this on the other side, and I've almost completed this side as well without thinking about it. Okay, so I am going to be replacing the bushes in here and the foam bushing that was underneath with these poly bushes. So effectively there are three pot rivets. You take those out. So there's 2 donuts in here, foam ones. Again, these are new. This is like 2 years old. You have to separate those off of here. There's, they're glued on. Take those off. Replace them with these. There is a different size because you can get this bit here can be a different depth depending on the car that you have. Don't know which one it is, but effectively mine's a slightly deeper one. There are some smaller, thinner bushes to replace one of them if that's what you have. Okay, so that's what you have. Goes on top, and then you just put new pot rivets back in there that come with the kit. I made the mistake of not putting them in properly, so I've drilled them out, and then I've ordered some more, which are 4mm by 12mm. So those are the ones I've replaced them with. These are stainless steel as well, so they're going to go in there like that. But you obviously need to clamp this down, and the easiest way I found to do that would be to put some washers on the original on these bolts here, and just tighten these down on them. Use the nuts that hold it to the car, and that'll clamp it all down for you. You might want to even put like a G clamp, one that you can apply a bit of pressure to. Something like this. Put that on there. You might want to put a bit of cloth or something between it so it doesn't scratch it. But effectively, clamp it right down with those, and there you go. See, it's a good idea to use that clamp when you're drilling them out as well, because, or at least just do it with these. Don't just drill out the holes, because there's still some pressure here pushing that up. Okay, so I'll just put the rivets in there. So this is the driver's side. I've scraped off some of the undersill. You can see there's a little bit of rust along this edge, but there's actually a gap there. So like this is, you're in the wheel arch, water's going to come up here. It's going to go down there, down between this sheet and the inner sheet, and it's going to go rusty. Now I know there's some, you can see there's a little bit of surface rust down there, but I had that repaired a long time ago, and that's just where the undersill's cracked. So I'm just going to clean that up a bit and fix that. But this, we know on the other side, about here, that was really rusty. On the inside, it's very difficult to see. It's slightly better like that. But basically down, where those, you can't see at all. Where those holes were, in fact slightly to the left of it, there were a couple of tiny spots of rust I could see when I looked down there myself. When I looked down there I could see a couple of spots of rust, but just rubbing them with my hand has meant that they've disappeared. Still doesn't feel very smooth down there. So what I am going to do is I am going to try and work out where that lines up here, which I think is possibly, maybe as much as over here, rather than just it. So I'm going to cut down there and along there, and just do some investigation. I mean, potentially it's not that bad, but in for a penny, in for a pound, as they say. So let's fix it anyway. Nobody's going to see it, but it still needs fixing. I did spend a little bit longer sort of feeling on the inside of this panel, the other side of this panel, where the rust is, and it actually appears that where this gap is, it's actually more over here than it is here. So I'm probably going to do, we can replace the whole panel. It's not a problem. So I'm just going to cut something like that on the outside. Might have to drill out these spot welds, and just to see what it's like the other side, and then repair the other side as needed. So this is what it looks like. I've just cut this piece off. So that's all dirt. Really good rust catcher, isn't it? Or rust generator, I should say. Okay. So a little bit of prodding and tapping with a screwdriver. This is what we found. So there's definitely a hole there. Definitely needs repairing. We still see it goes actually further down there. So I'm going to try. I might just go all the way across. Yeah, just do that. So I'll come down here, cut that out just to see what we've got here. But sort of looked okay if you didn't investigate. You can certainly see how that's trapped moisture and just caused it to rot through. So it looks now like we'll have to, I think there's another spot weld here, do a little bit more work on that to get this piece out. Yeah, so get this piece out here, and then actually, oh crikey. Yeah, so I think we'll go all the way across here and replace all of that, even though it looked okay. It's not until you start prodding. Yeah, that's obviously quite a serious, piece of support structure. So yeah, go back out to at least here, along there. Cut all that out, put a new piece in. Okay, just remove this piece here. There were a couple more spot welds, but it does look like the worst of it is something maybe like that. So if I cut that piece out and replace that on the the outer skin, the inner skin of the wheel arch that you can see from the engine bay, and then put a piece, fill that all back in again. Obviously this side here, there's no gap up here, didn't trap so much water, but here, you can still see there's a gap there. Once I weld that back in, I'll make sure there's some seam sealant all the way around. Yeah, so I'm going to cut out that, welding a new piece. It's about 14 gauge. There is a slight crown to it going, going away from us and back again. So I'll do that and weld that piece in. And there's no way I can weld from the other side, so just make sure I can do it as neat as I can from this side. And then we'll make a bigger piece and put that over the top. Well, because it had spot welds between, we'll plug weld it on, and then seam weld it down all the edges. There's a bit of cleaning up needed here, but yeah, that's what we'll do. Okay, so that's the cutout. This is what the other side of the piece of metal that I've cut out looks like. So yeah, it certainly all the way through. It was only sort of held in there by paint. So yeah, glad I did it in the end. So we'll obviously we'll have to fill in, weld along these cuts. You can't cut dead to an end with a curved angle grinder. So yeah, there is, you can see there is some, there is a bit of effort gone on there where I've bent it to get it out, but there is something along the lines of there is a slight curve there anyway. So make up a new piece. So I'm just going to tack it in initially. Yeah, I think that'll clean up pretty good, so we'll just give it a grind down. Make sure that the top is tapped back in actually. You can do that while it's still a bit warm, it might help. So yeah, make sure the top's up against the metal, so there's, even though we put a bit of seam sealer on there, there's no way for water to get back in there. So yeah, that's it, all done. Bar the cleanup, of course. So you can see I've put some sort of rubbery stone chip on there. I'll put some more, I'll put some seam sealant on it, and then I'll put the obviously clean up. I noticed that things like this here, you've got a lot of grit on here from the angle grinding, so we'll clean all that up. Then I'll put the strut back in, and then that'll be this side done, ready to put the wing on. Put the wing on, and then the front bumper, well, the lower part, to make sure that everything ties up well, and then we will get to preparing for paint. Mother and babies, spring is here.